Awesome, and I appreciate that introduction too. So I know we got a large volume of people on the call today. I think we're going to be just over 1,000. So if you guys can go to the chat box, I just want to make sure everybody can hear me. We've got everybody muted, but you can type in the chat box there and just let me know, shout out and say, hey Ryan, I can hear you, and then we'll get going. So perfect. Looks like everybody can hear. Okay, awesome. Thank you for that, guys. So let's get straight into it. Today we're here. We wanted to talk to you about how to increase your customer base by 20% without making expensive mistakes, right? And so my goal for this whole webinar is very simple, and it actually stems back to a few years ago. I had a very successful businessman take me aside and he says, Ryan, if you help people get what they want, you'll always get what you want. So we applied that principle to our customers and insurance partners and folks we did business with, and it got us some really great results. So my goal for you today is to give you tools and information that will help you grow and improve your business so you in turn can give your customers what they want. Does that make sense? Perfect. And if you stay tuned till the end, guys, we've got some great stuff to give away today. We've got some promotional materials. We've got some email templates and phone scripts and some custom videos, things that you can plug into your business and you can start seeing results right away, right? So make sure to stay till the end and we'll get your information and get that off to you. So we'll dive right in. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ryan Taylor and have been in the industry for quite a lot of years. As a matter of fact, I grew up in this industry. So one of the things that I'm kind of known for is doing large-scale projects and consulting and training for a lot of the insurance companies and also for the manufacturers. So some of the clients that I've done work for is TD Insurance, Economical, AMA, RSA, CDI, Chrysler, Ford, General Motors, a lot of the big manufacturers around Canada and the US as well. So we've done a lot of A-list manufacturers and insurance companies across the country. So usually we do about 20,000 vehicles per year. So there's a couple photos. You can see in the bottom right photo there, that's a mobile repair center. That's something that we actually invented and patented a few years ago. So if you've seen those floating around, that's an actual mobile repair center that we do paint work and dent work and all kinds of fun stuff inside of those, and we send them out to remote areas. And that's an example of one of those. So if you've seen those, that's part of our operations. So. Oh yes, and this is kind of an interesting one. This was a project, and I wanted to profile this because this was a turning point for us. But this is a project we did in Brampton, Ontario. I think this was back in 2010, and we were doing about 1,200 cars for them. They had a big windstorm and hail damage and a bunch of debris damage. Anyway, we were doing this project, and the Chrysler guys came and said, look, if you're going to back up the plant and we have to shut it down, we're going to start finding you guys $5,000 a minute. And so there's this huge pressure, and so we really had to heavily lean on technology and organization and structure to get through the project. Now, I'm happy to say that we got through it and we didn't get any kind of fines, but it was a turning point for us. And we'll get back to that and we'll talk about that in a little bit as well. So suffice it to say, I've done a lot of things right, but I've also done a lot of things wrong. Right? And so after doing this for 15 years, I've learned some interesting nuggets of wisdom, and there's a hidden business inside of your existing business. And that's one of the things I want to profile and talk about today as well. We found a real hot button that our customers love. And then the last thing we're going to talk about today is that you're bigger than you think and you can actually expand your business. So we're going to talk about doing these things. And a lot of this stuff, guys, unfortunately, I discovered a lot of these things the hard way. But the objective is that today you get to cheat and see how to do things the easy way. So let's go ahead and talk about the hard way. I want to focus kind of on the last 4 years dominantly because that's where the biggest shift and change came for us. So in 2010, we brought in a ton of business consultants from different parts of North America. We did a big software development project and spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in doing the business development side of it and the IT coding and the program analysis and the PHP programmers and a big research project. And it took us about a year and a half of effort to finally blast through this brick wall. And it was painful. But today, I want to know how many of you guys want to find the easy way that doesn't require a ton of time and money and brain damage. Go ahead and type it in that chat box. I'm curious. Yeah, of course, right? Absolutely. So This diagram speaks very well for what we did initially. So initially we took that right door, we worked our way through this maze, we made a lot of wrong turns, but we finally got through it. And then what we did is we came back and we plowed a nice and simple road to follow through. So that's what we want to talk about today. And about 8 months ago, we ended up selling our shops. But before we did that, we went through a massive growth curve. We grew our shops by 64% over 2 years by implementing the secrets that I want to share with you guys today. And the neat part is that we didn't have to drastically change our business to do it, right? So now I want to make sure that you guys understand this, that our results were not typical. And when we were choosing the title for this webinar, we had a pretty heated discussion, because I said, why don't we just tell people that they can grow up to 64% growth, all those kind of things. And then we realized that this isn't something that's typical. We work this thing excessively hard, and that's not something that's going to be typical for you guys. Hence the reason we called it increase your customer base by 20%. And don't get me wrong, this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. If this is something that you think you can just plug in and overnight things happen, that's not, right? This is going to take some elbow grease. This is going to take some hard work, and it is a great business opportunity, but it's not for amateurs. Okay, so if you're on this call, we want to make sure that you're a serious business person, and this is something that you're willing to put some work into your business to grow it, right? Otherwise, you can't expect results. That makes sense? Okay. So let's hit on the 3 secrets, guys. And this is exciting for us, because this is the first time that anybody has really brought these to the surface. So the existing gold mine, 62% of your customers have this. And we're going to touch on that in just a few seconds. Secret number 2, we're going to talk about a hot button, something that's more valuable than time or money to your customer. Okay. And secret number 3, you're bigger than you think. And we're going to talk about breaking the 15-minute rule. Maybe some of you know this, but it's amazing. A lot of people don't know about the 15-minute rule. So we're going to get into that a little bit here in a few minutes. So we'll start with secret number 1, the existing gold mine. What is the existing gold mine? So there was a huge study done across US, Canada, and Europe. And the guys that work the phone, they called a bunch of people and they asked this question. Do you have any damage on your vehicle right now today that you would like fixed, but you just haven't taken the time to see a body shop for an estimate? So what do you think that percentage is, guys? Go ahead to the chat box, type it in there. Let me know what you think that percentage is. How many people have damage on their vehicle that they just haven't come to see the body shop for an estimate? Okay, so seeing numbers 10%, 25, 45. Yeah, and so you know what? When I initially heard this question, I thought, we're probably sitting around 20%. But here it is, guys. 62% of people said, yes, I have damage on my vehicle right now today. And so that blew my mind, because that means that 62% of my customers, people who are loyal to me, who are loyal to my shops, they're not going anywhere else, but they have damage on their vehicle that I'm not getting, right? So I knew there's this big pot of work out there, 62%. And the question comes up, why? Why aren't they coming to see me? So the psychology behind it, we started looking into it, and we know that it takes an hour and 30 to an hour and 45 minutes out of a person's day to go and get an estimate, right? And the other thing, there's another conflict that seemed to pop up, and that was that our shops were open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And that was the most common work hours for the average person out there as well. So there's this conflict of schedule, there's this big chunk of time out of their day, and people are excessively busy, as you can kind of see from the lady on the screen here. They've got all these things on the go, and so we knew that there's an opportunity here, there's a big pot of work sitting there, but how do we tap into it, right? So we took a look at the math, and I think you're going to want to see this, because this is exciting. So we just took a number and we said, let's say your customer base is 1,000 people. And I know that's a small customer base, but for a small shop, let's just use that for this example. And let's say you have a customer base of 1,000 people. 62% of them have damage. That means 620 people right now have damage on their vehicle. Now, it's going to be smaller damage. It's going to be stuff that's drivable, because if it's not drivable, they're forced to pay attention to it. But if it is drivable, a lot of people just defer and put it off. Okay? And so the average invoice, we peg the average invoice at $1,000. And so if you take that and you say 620 customers at $1,000 in damage, that's $620,000 of potential revenue sitting there, right now, that big pocket of money sitting there. Now, not everybody's going to have the money and not everybody's going to have the time to do it right away, but it is sitting there, right? So we said we got to find a way to tap into that. So we went to the experimental phase, and it almost failed on us, guys, but I want to walk you through what we did. Okay, and so what we started out by doing is our old model was we decided, hey, what a great opportunity to send an estimator out to the customer to do an estimate. But this failed, and fundamentally it was a good idea. But where it failed is now that we owned that hour and 30 to hour and 45 minute time block. That was on us. So we had to get more estimators, and then we'd send them out, and then they'd get lost, and they'd be trying to find this customer, and then the customer wouldn't be there. And when they finally did, the customer was happy for that convenience, but, we had this huge expense of sending an estimator out. So that was really a fail to us. So then we moved to a new model. We said, okay, we got to utilize technology to help us with this. And we know that everybody seems to know how to run email. So we got them to use the email to send us pictures. That was better, but it also failed. And fundamentally for a couple reasons. One, people didn't know how to take pictures. So they would go in 3-4 inches away from the panel and snap a few photos. We couldn't tell what panel it was. We couldn't tell how bad the damage was. And so the other thing is that when they would send the email, a lot of times they wouldn't get our email address right. So it would go into cyberspace and we'd never see that. And then the customer would be upset with us. But also, what would happen is the email, to go through the email servers, it would truncate or reduce the file size so it could come to our email box. So then we get this grainy, fuzzy, pixelated picture that was really hard to tell what was going on. And so we weren't very comfortable giving an estimate. And the other thing we did at the same time was decided, let's keep the shop open longer. So we kept it open from 7 a.m. till 7 p.m. And the interesting thing is that it helped. We managed to get more people, but we now had this expensive overtime. We had a bunch of staff members sitting around, and people were still busy. So they'd get off work at 5, and then they'd have supper and a soccer game, and their kids would have dance class and all these different things going on. So they still didn't feel like they could take the time to come and see us. So ultimately, we did see an increase, but we considered it a fail because it became a very expensive venture for us. Does that make sense? And so right about then, we were kind of feeling like, you know what, let's tear this thing up, let's scrap it, let's throw it in the garbage. This isn't working. The juice just isn't worth the squeeze, right? And right about that time, I had a guy come up and he said, look it, you can always tell who the pioneers are because they have the arrows in their back and they're lying face down in the dirt. And that was how I was feeling. Here we'd done all these things, we'd spent all this money, we brought in consultants, we'd done all these things to try and make this better for our customers, and we were bleeding. We weren't really seeing the success. And we knew that there's all this pocket of work out there that we could potentially have, but we just couldn't seem to tap into it. And about that time, I don't know how many of you guys know Tony Robbins, but Tony is he's a great speaker, motivational speaker, a fantastic businessman, and he advises people. Anyway, one of his thoughts was, if you want to achieve success, all you need to do is find a way to model those who have already succeeded. Doesn't that make sense? So we started looking at it and saying, hey, what a great idea. Who else has done something like this and has actually succeeded? And it was good timing because right about then, I got a phone call from a body shop friend in the US, and he said, look, we're losing work because of an insurance app that's come out. And I said, well, what are you talking about? And he said, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to send you a little TV commercial, have a look at it, and then get back to me. So he sent me this commercial, and the first time I watched it, guys, I got goosebumps. It was that scary. And I'm going to share it with you today. It's about a 30-second little TV commercial, but I want you to watch it, and I'll show you this was a big, major turning point for us. So have a look at this.
Settling an auto claim just got even easier with Quick Photo Claim, a new feature of the Allstate mobile app. Settle claims quickly and conveniently, all from your smartphone. Contact Allstate on your schedule with in-app mobile claims assistance. Allstate will use your photos to settle the claim without you needing to see an adjuster or visit a repair shop. Available for download in the iTunes App Store or Google Play.
So can you see how slick that is, guys? Isn't that a cool app? But the problem is if you heard it inside of there, and I'll just profile it for you for a second, they said you no longer have to go to a body shop for an estimate. Well, that's scary because that's how we captured our customers. We knew that the customers were coming to us, and that was our opportunity to sell them on our features and benefits. And this app was going to cut them out of the process. So we went into a flurry of action. We decided, let's do some investigating. So we quickly found that there was 8 other insurance companies that were also building apps. So when we started talking and finding out the buzz in the industry, this is what came up. And it wasn't that the insurance companies were doing this to hurt the body shops in any way, shape, or form, but it's because their customers were demanding convenience and putting a lot of pressure on these insurance companies. And so really, it comes down to this. 3 trips to the body shop sucks. They have to bring it in for an estimate, then they bring it back for the repair, and then they pick it up afterwards, right? And so if the insurance company could give them an app or a tool or something that worked really well to eliminate the need for them to go and get that initial estimate, their customers would be way happier, right? And their overall customer satisfaction would be way up. So that was a kind of a light bulb moment for us. And so we decided, let's take a look into this deeper. And one of the things I think we should profile, I'm going to segue into this right now, but there's an evolution happening, right? And so back in the 70s, and this is interesting, scientists, we were just talking about this, but scientists discovered that the average person in the 70s could spend about 20 minutes making, and that's the attention span they had, was about a 20-minute attention span. Right? And so as time progressed, that attention span got smaller and smaller. So you can see kind of the technology that travels with this graphic as well. But as things evolved, people's time became more and more valuable. And now, in today's society, there's a 7-second attention span. So they've got Facebook and Twitter and all these things that are constantly in their face and on their radar. So they have very little time and very little attention. Think about how they're paying their bills and all those different things, right? And I like to use this example as well. Now, we've seen some evolution inside of our industry, but things are changing. And historically, we've gone from the siphon feed guns to the HVLP paint guns, and we've gone from waterborne to solvent-borne paint, solvent-borne to waterborne paint. And we've seen those evolutions and those things change. But now, and I like to use this example, how many of you guys go to Blockbuster to rent a movie? Well, nobody does anymore because they're extinct, right? They used to be a $6 billion giant, and they've gone extinct. And that's amazing, and that's because technology and Netflix is really one of the things that the Achilles heel that really cut Blockbuster down. Nobody has the time to go and rent a movie. They can just simply get it right on demand, right when they want, right? So this is one of the things that's changing, and there's an evolution that's been happening inside of our industry. And I wanted to show you this because this is what was explained to me by one of our body shop partners, and he said, years ago, back in the early days, the old buying decision, the customer would come by and they'd walk into the back of the shop, and you'd be back there sanding cars, and you'd put down the sanding block for a minute, and you'd talk with the customer, and they'd get this comfort level, and then they'd make their buying decision to leave the keys with you, right? And then that shifted. That shifted to the buying decision was all done in the main office. As a matter of fact, this guy I'm talking about, he's got a great franchise. I won't bother talking about it, who he is, but and he had an amazing front office, right? It looked like a spaceship. He had this big glass boardroom. He had the reception desk like something out of Star Trek, and it was beautiful. And then when he took me in the back, it was an absolute turd back there. It was disgusting. Somebody had backed into the paint booth. It was starting to collapse. The frame rack looked like something that was prehistoric. But he had realized that people were making their buying decision in the front office, not in the back. So that's where he focused his money, and that's where people made their buying decision. But that's shifted. He says, look, now we're starting to divert all of our attention to the virtual world. Right? The new buying decision, the new era, people are buying off of our website. People are buying off of the technology side. So the insurance company will recommend 3 or 4 body shops in that customer's vicinity. And what does the customer do? The customer goes online and takes a look at, what does that body shop look like? Is it a place that I'd feel comfortable going for repair? So that's like the new frontier. That's the new buying decision. All right? Does that make sense? Do you guys see where this is going? So, I'm going to get back to the insurance app for a second. So our team looked at it and they said, okay, what are the pros? Why is this app coming on so strong? So the interesting thing was they discovered that the insureds really love the app. Matter of fact, and this is kind of an older fact, but Allstate's app had 750,000 downloads, and it had a 4.5 out of 5-star rating. That's amazing, really. That's a really good rate. So what were the key benefits? Well, it was quick to use, right? You didn't have to drive to the body shop for an estimate anymore, and you could do it at 24 hours a day. It didn't matter. Right? So then we took a look at the cons, and unfortunately the cons were more pointed at the body shop itself, not for the insured. So what happened was the body shop gets cut out of the estimating cycle, and for most of us that's a problem, right? And the insureds, again, they had the same problem that we had with the email. Insureds still didn't know how to take pictures. They weren't being educated how to take pictures. So a bad picture still equals a bad estimate. And then the customer, the other thing that was an intrinsically bad thing was the customer could go anywhere they want for repairs. So what would happen is they'd get a check in the mail for $2,500 based off of the pictures they'd sent, and then they go shopping for a body shop. Right? Now, unfortunately, the customer would put that check in the bank and they'd go buy some new shoes or go buy groceries, and then they're like, I need to go and get this car fixed. So they start shopping around for a body shop, and they're looking for somebody who can do it at a discounted rate. And so when they go to a premier shop and the shop says, look, you got $3,500 worth of damage, they instinctively go, wait a minute, that's a ripoff. So it doesn't always happen that way, but that was a thing, that was a trend that was popping up as well. So we looked at these things, and we looked at the pros and we looked at the cons, and fortunately for us, the timing was absolutely perfect. Our partners and us had been working on a manufacturing app that helps them choose and select the panel, and it shows them how to take pictures using HDRI technology. And we'll get into that in a minute. And then on the other hand, we had the insurance apps that were very successful, but people really loved, and they had high customer demand, and they were using the smartphone technology, and the insurance companies were very accepting of them. So back to Tony, he said model those that are already experiencing success. So we took the insurance app and we decided, let's merge the two together to make the ultimate body shop app, right? And that was when we started to see some success. So here's an example of what the app looks like. Right now you can see the phone there, and it shows them how to select the panel, and then it uses a special technology. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you a quick video. It's kind of entertaining. It's a little promo video we did on how the app actually works. So this is what we ended up putting together. Have a quick look at this, you guys. It turns out even superheroes sometimes need a little help.
Go, go, Batman!
Not a mom's car! Ah, what are you doing? When the customer uses the app, it seems very simple for them to use. But behind the scenes, our technology is hard at work. For example, when the customer chooses the damaged panel, they are given a real-life example showing them the proper distance, height, and angle to capture the image. Our programmers have optimized the smartphones to use high dynamic range imaging, so when the customer takes the picture, the app actually takes multiple images at different thermal and exposure levels, allowing us to see the damage on the panel better. Once the customer has submitted the images, they're uploaded into our cloud processing units, which render them and then send them to your estimators. Your estimating team can now view the images through damage filters for better clarity and definition. Isn't that cool, guys? Can you see how effective a tool like that can be? So there we are. We had our old model that failed. We had our older model that failed. And now with the new model, we started to see some success. So that was really exciting. So that gets us back to the existing gold mine. Again, to that point of helping your customer get what they want, and you will get what you want. Does that make sense? So here's some of the results we started seeing, and this was really exciting for us. One of the things we determined with that little gold mine, that pot of gold sitting there, we could target our slow times. So let's say, for example, we knew that January was historically a slow month for us, right? What we'd start doing is we would send out a big email blast, or we'll send out postcards to the local, to our existing customers. And what was exciting was that we'd start getting these app submissions from these people in December, and then we'd book them for January when we knew we were traditionally slow. But what we could do in our busy seasons is we just shut the tap off. We wouldn't market it to our customers as much. And then that way through our busy season, we kept busy and we could save that pocket of work for our slow season. Isn't that cool? Can you see how effective that could be in your business? Now, another thing that we started to see was more after hours traffic. Right? So we'd come in the morning and then we'd have submissions and people would have sent them to us at 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock. We'd have some at 2 in the morning. It was kind of amazing to see what time people would actually have to take photos and images and send them off to our estimators, right? We also noticed a lot more weekend submissions too. A neat thing, a side benefit that came out of this was we found our estimators became more efficient. They weren't spending as much time socializing with the customer. They're spending more time being effective on doing the estimate, contacting them, and making the sale. And that was something that was hugely beneficial for us as well. So now let's go ahead and jump into secret number 2. So secret number 1, the existing gold mine, super effective, super exciting, and I'm sure you can see the potential inside of that. But secret number 2 is a very neat thing, and we call this the hot button. What is worth more than time or money, right? Here it is. It's downtime. And this all spun off. This was something that literally showed up and unannounced. And so we had a guy come in. His name's Tyler Boyd. Very, very successful businessman. He's got 200 plus employees. I think they do something like $40 million a year. Big numbers. Anyway, but he's got a whack of employees. And he came in and he says, look at guys, your estimates are killing us. And so he says, let's do the math. He sat us down and says, here's the math. It takes 2 hours to get an estimate, right? By the time my guy gets off the tool and gets in the truck and comes over, now they do directional drilling and fiber optics and a bunch of really, high-end stuff. But he says, it takes 2 hours by the time my guy drives to the body shop, gets an estimate, and a driller's wages are $80 an hour. So that's $160. So that's time. And that's not too bad. But he says, what really kills me is the billable downtime, right? He says, I charge that guy out at $500 an hour, which is $1,000 that I've just lost to get an estimate. So if I combine the wages and I combine the downtime, he says that's $1,160 to get an estimate. And here is the repair bill for $800. It doesn't make sense. The estimate costs me more than the repair. And that was like a light bulb moment for us because we were getting the app out and getting it functioning. And that was a light bulb moment because we said, look, we got a tool that's going to be highly effective for you. You guys don't have to leave the job site. They can use this, use the app, and our guys will get you an estimate. And it was like that coup de grace moment, right? Isn't that exciting? So here's what happened. Here's some of the results, you guys. And one of the things is obviously you see a big increase in fleet business, right? And the neat thing is that these guys that were using the app, they would be using it and they'd refer their friends and other fleet customers. So we started getting other fleet referrals coming out of this thing. And then we started getting rental car companies and service departments at dealerships wanted to use this. And then the sales departments and the warranty departments and on and on and on it went, right? Isn't that exciting? Can you guys see how cool and how effective a tool like that was to plug in? Right? So that brings us to secret number 3. All right, breaking the 15-minute rule. Now this one is one of my favorite all-time things, and I'm sure some of you have heard of this 15-minute rule, but let's go over what it is, okay? So the 15-minute rule, we're going to call this little red dot your shop. And the 15-minute rule comes from a case study that says the average person will drive 15 minutes out of their way to get an estimate. And so if you take a look at that green window, that represents a 15-minute radius. Now, if it's past the 15-minute radius, what happens is that customer now starts looking for a body shop that's closer to them, right? Now, here's the bomb. That same customer or that same person will drive 35 minutes out of their way for repair, right? So then you go, what's the psychology behind that? Why are they going to drive 35 minutes for repair but only 15 minutes for an estimate? So here it is. An estimate has no commitment. Does that make sense? But a repair does. So they know that they're coming, they've got a repair appointment, they've probably got a rental car, they're comfortable with that, right? They've got a commitment. But for an estimate, there is no commitment, there's no attachment, there's no tether. So that's the difference. You're getting that? Does that make sense? So we knew that if we could get people a repair appointment in that 35-minute window, in that 35-minute radius, if we could get people to use the app, send us the estimate, close them for repair, then we knew we had something, right? So that is really exciting. Does that make sense? Yeah. So here's some of the results that we got. So initially, we said, great, we've got this app, let's see what it does. But you know what? We didn't get very much results. And you know why? Because nobody in that 35-minute radius knew about us. They didn't know who we are, what our shop was, and they definitely didn't know that we had an app. And that was kind of a blank on my part, is I just expected to get results. So then we realized, wait a minute, we need to do an awareness campaign. So we did some social media with Facebook. And the neat part is you can focus on that 35-minute radius. Right? So you can blast that 35-minute radius. There's no need to advertise 3 towns, 4 towns over because it's too far, right? So we knew that was our hot button. We needed to focus on that 35-minute radius. So we did that. We did social media, we did postcards, we did mail outs, we did email campaigns, we did all kinds of stuff to build awareness. And once we built that awareness up, then we started getting some serious traction. And it was so exciting, guys. I can remember when we started getting submissions coming from those outer areas. And I remember in particular one that we got, and it was on a Bentley, and I think it was only a few $1,000 repair. But the neat part is the guy lived like 3 blocks from one of our major competitors, right? And he came to us because of the availability and the technology of the app. Isn't that cool? And so we knew that we were really onto something here. And so we really started working that hard, and we really started having some fun with it. So a really powerful tool to plug in there. So now we've been talking for quite a while here, and we've gone over a lot of information. So I just want to take a minute to recap the 3 secrets. So the existing gold mine, 62% of your customers have damage. Right? So that's a group of people that are loyal to you that you can tap into and very simply done. Okay. Another thing is the secret number 2, the hot button. So if you guys do fleet, and you know what, I had a guy come to us just the other day and he says, look, you know what, I lost a fleet customer. I was doing $300,000 a year. And I lost them because we weren't being convenient and things were bulky and things. So he signed up for the app and he's now utilizing that to get back that customer. Isn't that exciting? So you can see how downtime is so important to these guys, right? It's expensive, and especially for those guys that have their business dialed in. More and more people understanding that. So secret number 3, being able to break that 15-minute rule, being able to reach out, to be able to take your market and push it out exponentially. And we're talking about, the difference between 15-minute radius and a 35-minute radius. There's 300 to 400% more people in that bigger radius. Now, not everybody's going to be wanting to use the app. It is definitely a generational thing. We see people that the prime market is 22 to about 45, and then the next hot market would be 45 to about 65, and then your people 65 and older, we're finding don't really like to use apps and that kind of technology. But that's a big group of people, guys. Okay, so very exciting. So now we've gone through all these secrets and we've been talking for about a half an hour here. And I just want to ask you a question. All right, how many of you guys are feeling a little bit like this? Right? And this is a funny picture. I laugh every time I see this thing. And the reason I put this picture on here is because a while back I was talking to a guy and we were going through all these secrets, and he says, you know what, I feel like you got a water hose, like a fire hose, just spraying me the whole time. And it's so much to absorb. And I'm sure some of you guys are feeling the same way. And I talk really fast. I know we've covered a lot of information, but you're probably feeling like, how do I implement this into my business? And what are the mechanics and what do I need to do? So I wanted to create a special offer for you guys to help you fast track your success. And I just wanted your permission now to go ahead and share that with you. Would that be all right if I took some time and shared that with you guys? Okay, cool. Great, I appreciate that. So this is what we decided to put together. So we wanted to give you guys something. So we wanted to give you a 1-year membership to our accelerator program. Okay, so this is something that really fast tracks your success. So what is the accelerator program? So what it is it's a master training class. So it's a group of, it's a bunch of recorded seminars for your staff. So you can give this to your estimators and managers and marketers and your receptionists and all the people inside your organization to really help them tap into these markets that we've already discussed, right? We've also grouped together a bunch of powerful marketing materials such as videos and email templates and business card templates and mailouts and postcards and all those kind of wonderful things. We've also got a bunch of proven phone scripts, so when your people are utilizing those, they seem to be quite a bit more effective. So we got some branded web videos. We've also got a whole bunch of other stuff inside of that package. So that's pretty cool. That's really exciting stuff. And with that, what you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to really effectively go after your existing client base, right? And you're going to be able to stop that downtime for your fleet customers and your dealerships and your rental car companies. And you're going to be able to tap into a way bigger market, right? Be able to expand your shop, the potential reach of your shop, all through the use of mobile technology. Does that make sense? Isn't that exciting? So what happens after 1 year, you guys? Well, what happens is this is a training product. So once you've used it, once you've got your staff trained, if you're continually bringing on more staff, then keep using it, right? It's a monthly subscription. You can keep using it. It's about $200 a month. But after 1 year, if you've gotten everybody trained, then you don't even really need to use it. That's why we wanted to put that out there for you, okay? So the next step, the product that I want to talk to you about next is getting your own app, right? Getting an app that works for you. And these are some examples of some existing customers we have where we take our very successful app and we brand it with your logo and your information for your customers. So the blinders are on and all they see is you. Does that make sense? So here's what you're going to get with that product, right? So you're going to get the App Accelerator training. That's a $2,400 value. We're going to give that to you. And again, inside of that, what we have is we have some very cool, very exciting stuff for your receptionist estimators. We do website SEO. We touch on social media, landing pages, a bunch of really powerful stuff for you, okay? And here's a couple case studies, guys. I wanted to show you some people who've already tapped into this platform. So here's one, ACR Auto Body. Great folks over there. And the way that they came to find out about us was their local Toyota dealership. Now, this is a fairly big Toyota dealership. Came and approached them and he said, look, we want you guys to get this app. And they run this Toyota dealership that I'm talking about. They have about 150 people a day go through their service department, and they get asked all the time for, where do I bring my car for repairs? And so these guys would be recommending ACR Auto Body, but they said, we want to do one better. We want to give our customers real estimates. So give us the app, get the app, sign up for the app, and we'll give it to our service writers and to our people in the service drive, and then that way they can get these people an estimate. So they started doing that. They got them set up with the app, and they're starting to get submissions. It's very exciting. But what also happened was people in the sales department, the used, the new, the warranty departments started sending them a bunch of estimates on their inventory as well. And so it had an immediate effect on their business, and they're super pumped, super excited about where that's going for them. So isn't that cool? And then Lockwood Auto Body. This guy is great. He's salt of the earth. Daryl Lockwood. He's a great guy. One of my favorite people. And within the first 2 weeks of signing up for this app, Daryl took this and he ran with it hard. And he went and saw all the insurance brokers and all the insurance agents. Excuse me. And he went and saw all of his insurance partners and told them, look, we know that you're suggesting several body shops in the area, but we've got this very effective, very powerful tool that's super convenient for our customers. So when you're suggesting it, make sure your customers know that we have this. And so that's what would happen, right? And so now when the insurance company is suggesting, they'll say, look, Lockwood Auto Body, they're one of the people we suggest, but they got this app that's really convenient for you to use. And so they started seeing results from that right away. And within the first couple weeks, they got several jobs that paid for the app subscription for several years, which is, that's what we like to see. That's the kind of results that we're after. And guys, I wanted to share with you a quick video. This is an interview I did with Fix Auto. They're a big organization. They got about 350 stores globally, and they're on track to grow to 500, I think, within the next 6 months. So very aggressive, very powerful group, also using the app. And I wanted to show you their response towards the app. So have a quick listen to this. It is. So anyway, guys, here today with the group from Fix Auto. And I got Keith with me here, and we wanted to just kind of run over some of their experience with the app, what they're doing internally with Fix Auto, And I know that Fix has been experiencing some very exciting growth. And maybe speak to that a little bit, like where that's all coming from.
Well, the industry is going through rapid change in customer expectations, vehicle design, and one of the key components, the key strategies of Fix is embracing that change.
For sure.
Not just going with the change, but trying to get ahead of it.
Right.
And helping our business partners, our strategic partners, which are our body shops, our insurance partners, helping them move with that speed of change as well.
Yeah. So recently, you guys have invested into the Body Shop Booster app and implemented that into the stores.
Yes.
You know, what was the motivating factor behind, you know, giving that piece of technology to your shops, to your customers?
It's very interesting. Actually, I wrote an article about 4 or 5 months ago on new technology, and I've got teenage girls. Everything they do is on their phone, on a mobile app. And I think that's the up-and-coming generation. Even someone like myself, who's a boomer generation.
Just a young fella.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is the way a lot of our customers want to communicate with their body shop, with whoever they're doing business with. And it's such a seamless, easy piece of technology that the shops, customers, insurance partners can utilize. It's the way of the future, and I think we need to get on board and use it now, rather than think we may use it in a year or two. Absolutely. It's the way of transacting business now.
Yeah, we've seen that trend kind of shift towards that. Matter of fact, I was reading an article just the other day, and they were talking that the average person, and this blew me away, the average person checks their cell phone 151 times a day. 151 times a day. You know, so to get real estate on that device, to be in the customer's face, that's a huge advantage.
Absolutely.
You know, I think, you know, that in among what else you're doing inside of the network, it brings in incredible power.
Yeah, that's one of the benefits of joining the network.
One of the things that we're trying to accomplish today is to try and give, whether it's, you know, a banner like yourselves or an independent shop like a lot of our people who are watching this right now, is there a piece of advice that you could give them that would just help them along this you know, the path that most of these shops are on right now today? Is there something that you'd like to leave them with, one thought that would help them?
Make the decision sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Because this trend in the industry of networks, of the powerful brand like Fix Auto, it's moving faster rather than slower.
Yeah.
Embrace the change, embrace the technology, otherwise you'll be left behind.
Yeah.
You really will. And there's a lot of good shops out there that could really be great shops.
Yeah. This is the tip of the iceberg.
Tip of the iceberg,
really,
absolutely.
I mean, your growth is exponentially growing it seems like every month. So
absolutely.
Very exciting times. So anyway, guys, we're going to leave it at that, and I'd like to thank you for coming out and helping us with that, letting us into your corporate office, and you know, we'll do a segment following up on this with these guys at a later date. Make sure to stay tuned. If you want to get in touch with Fix Auto, I'll leave some information at the end of the seminar, and you guys can do that. So
perfect. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
All right.
So are you guys getting this? Can you see how powerful a tool like this can be? Can you see the potential that you can do, what you can do with this tool in your own business? It's fantastic. So guys, I wanted to get back to what you're going to get. So we've got the App Accelerator training. That's a value of $2,400. Okay. We've got the setup of your app. That's the programming to get your logo and get all your information into there. That's another $2,500 value. Okay. We've got a mobile landing page. That's about $2,000. Unlimited app submissions. Okay. Insurance integration. And all of this is a value of about $8,991. Right? And so now we've got a bonus for you guys for being on today. We've got a highly effective video that we will brand with your logo and with your information. And this is something that you can get out and get generating work for you guys right away as well. Okay. And we're only, because our programmers are so backed up, we can only do about 30 of those for the first 30 folks. That's about all we can do on that today. So now another bonus we got for you guys is the SMS setup and the website integration. So that's where you got power, where we set up a texting platform that integrates with your website, and It's a really cool tool. It's about $1,000 value, and we're going to go ahead and give that to you guys today for the first 20 people as well. Okay, so just to go through it again, what you're going to get your own app set up. You're going to get a mobile landing page on your website. Okay, unlimited app submissions, insurance integration program, an app accelerator training. We're going to give you the branded Body Shop commercial, an SMS, which is your texting again, website integration for that. So about $11,985 value, right? And also, guys, we've got a bonus here for you, a 30-minute consult with either Nick or myself, and we're going to go through and make sure that you've got our personal attention on getting this thing really rocking and rolling for you, okay? So we're at your fingertips that way. So the first 10 people we're going to go ahead and give that to. So we've got your own app set up. We've got the mobile landing page. We've got the unlimited app submissions, we got the insurance integration, the app accelerator training, the branded Body Shop commercial, we've got the SMS set up with the website integration, and the 30-minute consult. So we've got we got a grand total value of about $14,000, right? Now, obviously, I'm not going to charge you $14,000 for this entire package, but before we move on, I want to ask you a question, okay? If all this did was give you 2 or 3 new customers per month, would it be worth that? Right? And if all this did was bring you more fleet customers, would it be worth $14,000 if you could get more fleet customers? I know it would be for me, right? And if all this did was get you and your insurance partners to recommend your shop first because you have an app, wouldn't that be worth it? Yeah, I think so. Right? And if all this did was expand your market reach and allow you to draw more customers from further away, wouldn't that be worth it? I know it sure was for us. All right? So really, guys, when we were putting this together, I had 2 choices. My first option was go as cheap as possible and try and sell as many as possible. But the problem was it wouldn't incentivize me to really stack on the value for you guys. And the second option was require a little higher investment, but in exchange, I could devote more resources to guarantee your success. How many of you would like me to guarantee your success? Yeah, right, for sure. Absolutely. So let me ask this too. One client, what is that worth to you? Is it $5,000, $10,000, $25,000 or more? How much would you pay to get one client per month? One extra client per month? What would that be worth to you? What about 1 per week or 1 per day? We've got guys that are getting several every single day, right? Now, if you gave me $1 and I turned around and gave you 10, would that be considered a good investment? Absolutely. And if you gave me $100 and I turned around and gave you $1,000, wouldn't that be a good investment? And what about if you guys gave me $1,000 and I turned around and turned that into $1 million for you? Who wouldn't do that? Isn't that a good investment? You can see why this is a good deal at $5,000 and then $450 a month, right? You can see why that's a good deal. Now, guys, I want to tell you, starting next month, we're going to start selling this to the general public for $2,000 sign-up fee and $250 a month, right? That's a great deal. But because you guys are on this webinar and because you guys are special, we're going to do a website special or a webinar special for you guys where you can get started for $997 sign-up fee and $150 per month. Okay, isn't that exciting? And if you go to the website, you're going to see it on the website for $1997 and $250 a month. Okay, so now keep in mind, guys, I'm nothing special, right? I personally beat my head against the wall to try and figure this out. I spent 10 years of trial and error to discover these secrets that I'm going to give you today for small investment. And you can spend countless hours trying to do this the hard way. But why? Why when you can do it the easy way? So really, you have 2 choices at this point. First option, you can do nothing and not take the leap of faith to see this thing work, right? Which is 100% risk-free. Or you can do the second option. You can pony up the small investment, right? And compare it to the value you're going to get return and just give it a shot, right? All you got to do is click on the Get My Own App button down below and you can get started. And I always find that there's 2 types of people who sign up for these webinars. There's the people who are what I call the tire kickers. They come on, they look at it and they think, oh, that would be neat. I wish I could do something like that in my business, but they don't take action. And then there's the other type of people, the dynamic business people who take action, who see an opportunity, they jump on the opportunity, and they put it to work for them. So I ask you, what kind of person are you? Right? Are you the kind of person who takes action? Or are you the kind of person that looks at it and then years down the road says, I wish I really jumped on that opportunity, right? So, I mean, you can get started today. That $997, that's my cost to get you guys set up. That's the cost of my programmers to get your app set up for you, right? That $150 a month, right? That's where we make our money. That's inside there, right? And I got to tell you guys, there is no risk here. At that $150 a month, if you find this app isn't working for you, stop paying for it. There is no contract. Our philosophy is, if we can't make you money, we don't deserve yours. And I got to tell you, I have never had anybody yet to date quit this program. Once they've signed up, we've had 100% of people stick with us because it brings that kind of value. And all you got to do is hit the Get My Own App button and you can get started right away. Now, maybe some of you guys are having questions and you feel like we haven't answered all your questions. So what I do is I offer this down at the bottom here. You're going to see our 1-800 phone number, and that's for a secured voicemail line, right? So what I'd have you do is leave a detailed message with your name and address and phone number right on there with your email. Make sure to leave a credit card number with expiration date, and we won't actually charge that card until we've talked to you in person. But I want to get that number in there to show me that you're a serious player and that you're serious about this business, okay? And we'll return your call tomorrow and confirm the process and go over your order and answer any questions you have. That way it holds your spot. Make sure that you get all those benefits that we've talked about today, right? So again, guys, if I can't make you money, I don't deserve yours. But you can get started right away today. You can get started. We can get the programmers working on your development. You just have to take that leap of faith. All right, we're going to move into a question and answer period. Nick and myself will start answering some questions as they come up. So guys, if you have some questions, now's the time to start asking them, and Nick and I will address those. I really appreciate everybody taking the time to be on the call. Let's go ahead and move into a question and answer period here.